Okay. All right, everyone. I'm here with Mariobro, Mike Bro, whatever you want to call him, Bro, head
You
leader
just call
guy
me
of
Mike.
Decay of the Fang, which is a Fire Emblem 7 hack, and we're gonna ask him some questions about this. So, what is the premise of your hack?
Well, it basically picks up where Fire Emblem 7 left off, except from a different perspective. You're kind of looking at the remains of the Black Fang, or their decaying remains. That's actually where we got the name. But anyways, it's kind of a perspective from their story about some people who kind of still hold the Linus Lloyd / Brendan ideals and are trying to revive the Black Fang, but are having some extreme difficulties, as you will probably see. And there's kind of some factions that split off from that, etc. So it's actually it's an idea that's been floating around for about 7 years now.
Okay,
So,
that does sound pretty interesting. So, what made you want to do this?
well, we've always kind of wanted to turn this into a game. When we created the main characters about 7 years ago, I think it was almost exactly 7 years ago. It was about July.
Wow, 7 years?
Yeah, 7 years.
I think you guys have
I've-
longest running time of a Fire Emblem hack ever.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
I have heard but any other Fire Emblem hack that's been going for 7 years.
Yeah, most of the characters you will see were created around July 2004. So we had I was actually an admin of a forum that if anybody remembers the Nintendo Insider forums, that was like the first forum I signed on to talk about Fire Emblem. But anyways, we were kind of in disagreement with the administration and crap that was going down there, so we kind of split off into our own faction and started doing our own thing, and that's kind of what it evolved into.
That sounds like a lot of fun there, actually.
It really was. It was good times. I have a lot of nostalgia about that. So.
So, what made you and whoever else was working on this with you want to use Fire Emblem 7 as the base for the hack? Why not FE6 or FE8?
Well, I guess we technically could have used FE6, but there was actually, there's some characters in Decay the Fangs that are from Fire Emblem 7. We try to limit ourselves from recycling characters because, originality is good and all that. But I think the main reason was because FE7 at the time, we actually started on this hack in around 2009. And left it for a while because I didn't think I would have time enough to finish it. But now I've gotten better at managing my time. I've actually found time to do this crap. So, yeah, I started in 2009. What was I saying again? Sorry, I just kind of went.
Why you
rambling
used
there.
FE7 as the base instead of FE6 or
FE7,
8?
yeah. At that time, and it kind of still is this way now. FE7 really was just the most hackable of the bunch. I mean, there's just the most known about that that I could see. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the reason why we use FE7.
Okay. What are some of the favorite characters of yours in your hack here?
That's a hard choice. Luke is one of my favorites because he's just kind of a straight up badass. He doesn't take shit from anyone. He just lays it to you. I think Keegan's pretty cool. I mean, he's kind of like a 14-year-old kid. He's kind of immature and he's kind of insane, but he's had some pretty funny lines. And the character he's actually based off of on our original forum 7 years ago was like one of the most random guys I had ever met. So we just gave him this odd obsession with squirrels, and that like the squirrels were gonna kill him and burn everything. So he's like paranoid about squirrels in the story too.
That's a pretty. That's one of the weirdest obsessions I've ever heard.
That's the effect we're going for.
Well, you're seeming to accomplish that pretty well.
Yeah.
Why Fire Emblem? Why
Fire
hack
Emblem?
Fire Emblem instead of any other game, or instead of making your own game?
Well, like I said, because we've had this hack idea for a while, or we've had this storyline idea for a while, and it kind of tied in with Fire Emblem. But I mean, the way I see it, there's so many aspects of Fire Emblem that you can just customize to fit your own storyline than a lot of other games. Like, I thought if maybe hacking Golden Sun, I was like, that seems so limited, you know?
It is very limited. There's not much for graphics hacking in Golden Sun right now. So
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to change the world map around. You wouldn't probably be able to change the character sprites around.
yeah, and even if you could do that, that would be like 10
You can,
times
but
the
it's
graphical
very
work.
difficult.
It'd be like 10 times the graphical work you'd have to do here, and as everyone should know, I'm pretty bad with graphics.
You're amazing with music.
See, like when I was born, I believe there was I've always believed that there was like a big hole in the right side of my brain where the art section should have been, and but the music section, thank God, was left intact. So yeah, it's at least there's that.
Well, you're really good at music, so.
Well, thank you very much.
What's keeping you going to finish this? Is there anything driving behind this? Any person shoving you on? Any special reason?
Well, the fact that I'm working with someone on it is kind of keeping me in it. I mean, I'm working with HHS, aka Chuck. He's the writer, and he's pretty much the original creator of the storyline. He's one of the driving forces behind it. I'm sort of the hacker dude. I mean, I come up with some conceptualization, but he's the one who writes pretty much, because I kind of suck at screenwriting. I can write an essay, I can write an awesome essay, but I cannot write screenwrite worth crap. So I have him do that, and he's awesome at it.
I feel you there. Don't worry.
But yeah, he's doing an awesome job, and I think we have an awesome storyline laid out, and I just really want to see this thing to the end, because I think it'll be amazing once it's up to standards. I mean, especially
It's getting there.
after,
It's getting pretty close there.
Yeah. I'm really happy about that, and I'm really looking forward to releasing this thing for FEE3, because there's so many aspects of it that have been improved upon. It's crazy. So I hope I get a lot of comments about that.
Well, what is it that you like about your hack specifically, or that you think makes it unique compared to all these other hacks out there?
Well, let's see. There's quite a few small things here and there, but I don't know if we've really done all that much that someone hasn't done before. I guess at the time when I started creating the hack, almost no one knew how to event hack, so I thought that was kind of unique at the time.
I remember seeing a bit of this back in 2009 on Fire Emblem Universe, where you actually had what was it? You had world map events done.
Yeah. And that's actually one thing we have that a lot of other people don't have.
It really is, because a lot of people don't understand how world map events work.
Yeah, they're a little more complicated, especially from the fact that you have to go by pixels. You have to count by pixels, and that's kind of a pain. So I always am able to get that by educated guesses and trial and error. But I imagine Dan would be doing world map events if his hack actually took place in Alive. So
for everyone who doesn't know, Dan is Astralunasol, working on Dream of 5.
Yeah, the amazingly graphically.
And I would
superior
totally
hack.
talk about what he's going to do with the world map, but I'm sure we'll get there in his interview. Because right now we're focused on you.
Yeah.
So, what have you done to bring players in to make them want to play this? To make them go, wow, this hack looks really cool, I want to play this. What have you done for that?
I really think Chuck's writing would do a good number for that. Let's see. We've just kind of. I don't know if we've really tried to throw any gimmicks in there per se that we're trying to draw people in. I mean, we're more or less hacking this according to our standards, or not standards, but according to what we wanted back in, I guess, 2004. But trying to put it up to everyone's standards to where I don't know what I'm saying right now.
I get what you're saying. And I've seen some of his writing. It's pretty fun to read. And it actually makes me want to, see more of it. It actually brings me into it.
Yeah, like some of the characters, especially Luke, are you'll see the writing is pretty. It seems pretty crude as to where I mean he talks like a he talks like he's almost like in a gang. You know what I mean? But he's pretty badass. I'll just say that.
Okay.
His writing fits his character. I was kind of.
The writing does his character justice.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are you hoping to put into this in the future? What are you hoping to add to make it better, more interesting, more playable, etc.?
I'm really looking. I really wish we could have. I really wish I was good at spriting so I could make.
Practice makes more practice.
Yeah, practice makes more practice. I really wish I was good at spriting so I could add in more custom animations. Because
animations are really tough.
Yeah, they are. They are. But we're really we're really looking for a custom animation for our final boss sprite. But we hope we can have that. But if I told you what the final boss would be,
yeah, I think you'd be spoiling a bit too much there.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much only gonna tell what this final boss sprite is gonna look like to anyone who actually wants to take the challenge. But I don't know if we'll even get that, so it's still up in the air right now.
Try.
Yeah, might as well try. If we could somehow get Yeti's awesome animation skills into it, that would be like the most amazing thing ever. But
so what is this final boss supposed to look like? Maybe someone watching the video here will take you up on the offer.
Well, he's he kind of looks like a normal person, a bit messed up, but he's a blade wielder. I'll just go ahead and say it. He's it's like what you would expect a third-tier assassin to look like, except he would be a little messed up looking because of a certain event that occurs that I'm obviously not going to spoil.
Okay, so a fancier assassin with a big blade?
A big blade, or maybe just like yeah. We'll go with a big blade. He moves extremely fast. Like, I don't even know if you have to animate that much of him. He might be too fast to see for the naked eye. So.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us before we end the interview here?
I think I pretty much said what I'm going to say. I think Chuck and I are going to do sort of a co-commentary type thing over a bunch of video clips of what's improved in our hack since we last released a patch. So we're gonna co-commentate over that and just talk to you guys about it and stuff. So
I think
that's
that'll
pretty
be
much
pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I expect it will. We're trying to get this guy to make a banner for us, so that we'll have at the beginning and some intro music. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, well, thanks for this interview here, Mike. It's good to know more stuff about your hack, and it seems like it's going to be really interesting when you let us play the new demo there at FEE3.
We look forward to it. We definitely look forward to it.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, Trent.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to thank Mike once more for that engaging interview about Decay of the Fang, but him and HHS, the other head leader of Decay of the Fang, had some more things to talk about for their hack.
Hello everyone, this is Mariobro 3828. I am joined here by Chadwick HHS, but we'll just be calling each other Mike and Chuck because it's kind of weird to, speak and call each other our screen names. I think that's kind of socially awkward, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree to that.
Anyways, this is going to be on FEE3, I presume, but we're probably going to upload it to our channel a little beforehand anyways, but we're just going to talk about what exactly is new in our hack, Decay the Fangs, as well as give you kind of a history and what we're kind of trying to accomplish here. You have anything to say about that, Jeff?
Yeah, I thought I would just go into the origins, the plot, and kind of work from there. This is obviously not going to be very, very structured or formal, but the game hack is something we started years ago. If you've been following Mike's thread on any of the major forums, you're probably familiar with it, but the general plot is that You see the Black Fang fall apart in Fire Emblem 7. Our guys are kind of what's left over. You know, most of them die during Cog of Destiny, but there's a few stragglers here and there. This follows Chadwick. He makes the secondary Black Fang, gets into an argument with his longtime buddy, Alan. Alan is sort of less gung-ho about continuing the whole Black Fang tradition, wants to make his own crew and makes the White Fang. From there, obviously, things get out of control, where Chadwick gets into this whole after party with Hector and all of Lycia, and from there, he falls into aid with a noble from Etruria. That noble's name is William, and he's a major plot point. There are a few characters that you're going to see that are really important. Alan and Chadwick are obviously them. There's also a few secondary characters that I really like and I think are important. William's one, Mark is another. Then we have side characters, the heads of the White and the Black Fang, which you guys will meet them pretty quick as the game starts. But characters are what we're really focusing on. In the Fire Emblem tradition, you see that a lot of the Fire Emblem games are very character heavy. So we tried to avoid making the bland, generic, Roy Elwood characters and mixing it up with more flexibility that comes with having mercenaries instead of lords.
Yeah, what I've noticed is all the GBA Fire Emblems have had nobles as the head of the group, and this is like almost the exact opposite of that. Chadwick was born a commoner and not a noble, so and it's kind of a ragtag group in the beginning, if I do say so.
Yeah, that's more or less how it goes, and there's even some noble resentment. It's somewhat of a heavy theme. There's also a few other character-driven themes. You'll see each of them has sort of a individual story going on, but even more so, some of the main characters, like Chadwick, has a whole past that we try to avoid making it the generic, oh, he's a mercenary with a dark past. He does have a history that kind of haunts him, still plays with him, but it's nothing as cheesy as some other RPGs I've played. Mark's the same thing. He's very driven. He has a story that if you play the game in its entirety, you'll really start to appreciate his development and where he gets to, how he is. He's this unstoppable killing machine. He's kind of quiet, pretty ruthless right off the bat. He'll be a major player.
And also, he is not the tactician from FE7. I've gotten that question several times. I'm just going to tell you right now, he's not the same person.
No, when we started this years ago, we were working on this small forum. It was an offshoot of the Nintendo Insider, and a bunch of people that kind of formed our Black Fang were hanging out on these forums. Some of them, these characters are directly taken from the as avatars from people on that forum. Mark was one. Alan
Mark was one.
Was yours? Yeah.
Yeah, Alan was mine, though obviously he looks nothing like me. But Alan, I know a lot of people are going to comment that he's an Archsage and what the fuck is up with that. It'll be explained in the plot, trust me. It is logical and it fits within the boundaries of the game, so don't think we just like threw him in there. It's like, oh hey, a random Archsage. Let's just put a random Archsage in the first chapter.
There was actually a comment that a friend of mine, Jonas, not really his name, but that's what his name is in the game. He was doing a Let's Play, and he was kind of off-put, and I know some other people were too, about Jafar getting aced by Mark in the beginning. That is something that it's not going to end there. We're not just going to have... I mean, if we wanted to have him killed off, it wouldn't matter. I can argue that it's canon. Everyone else can argue that it's not. It really doesn't affect the story. We actually do go to great lengths with trying to keep everything within the canon. Something you're going to see when you play the game is not only is it very character heavy, but we really did try to keep the levels fresh. You'll see that each of them has different victory conditions, but on top of that, we added a few sub-chapters that have extremely stringent or unusual requirements.
I'll give a few examples since these sub-chapters have already been released in previous patches, but you'll take 4X, and if you actually stand still, the enemies will not come for you. I don't know if anyone has actually had to do that before, I felt like I was just kind of throwing them into that position, and if it was too hard for the player at that point, that they had the option of backing out of that. Because, I mean, you just say yes to the side quest, and you can't really go back from there. And then another thing, 8X, I'm not gonna explain what that entails. You can also back out of that if it's too hard for you. So, but yeah, 8X is interesting because it's actually a one-on-one duel, and if you try to interfere with it, the chapter ends because the character on your side that is part of the duel has too much pride to let someone else interfere with this fight.
That's actually one of my favorite chapters. That and we have some characters from the old games appear. Obviously, Eliwood and Hector are going to be in it because it does take place right after the original Fire Emblem. Some of them will come back and play major roles. Some of them you really won't see for more than a few seconds. Nurgle, for example, gets aced in the first 3 seconds of this because it's also the ending of the other game.
Yeah, it's just like we're basically stringing it together. Like the ending sparks a new beginning. You know, that whole thing.
We do plan on having quite a lot of depth in this game. That's something I've taken pretty seriously when I was writing it. On top of having a lot of characters, I want them to each have their own rich personality or backstory, something that makes them memorable. We have a lot of depth in that we're working with. Right now we already have over 20 supports. We have something like 35 characters that are already planned, possibly more to come. Our maps are pretty intricate. We have a few alternating paths, sub-chapters. For example, with the alternating paths, you can get one character or the other one, depending on what you did earlier. The sub-chapters have pretty complicated, some of them have complicated requirements, some of them are a little easier.
There's one route split in particular that it happens once, it happens again, it affects like multiple parts of the game, and it all has to do with that chapter 8X that we were talking about, but you'll find out what that entails once you play the game.
In addition to the supports, we also have a few Easter eggs where if you tend to pick a certain character and they happen to come up on the right map, you'll get your Easter egg, like Guy getting sick on the boat. Except some of them you'll even notice will just have random talks together. Character pairings are kind of important, kind of funny. I really wanted to give the player something they actually would want to read as they're playing, and there's a little bit of humor with some of the characters. Like, for example, my Tom and Ryan characters are some of my favorite, because they'll, on random chapters, just have little conversations together about what's going on, or
yeah, if you ever have Tom and Ryan on the map, just check to see, like, put one next to the other and see if there's a talk command, because there's one of those in quite a few chapters now. And with that, another thing we added in was on the prologue, pretty much every character can talk to every character. There are a few exceptions to that rule. There's a lot of talk scenes on the first chapter, optional talk scenes. We try
to keep an abundance of optional text where it'll really immerse you into the game, how much content there is, but we won't cram it down your throat and really suffocate you with it. If the player really wants to get into the lore and the kind of political, social, economic, whatever, world of Elib, I don't even know how to pronounce it, you can do that. On the other hand, if you're really just sort of rushing through the game, and you never did that with Fire Emblem, you didn't collect the 100% supports or whatever, you can still basically play the game through and through and have your fun with it.
And another thing I want to mention, for those of you who already have maybe a save data with a previous patch or whatnot, I highly recommend you start the game over. I mean, I know it sounds kind of a mean thing to say, but I mean, there's so much content right now that you'll be missing, because any patches before this that we've released have been in Lin mode, and Lin mode does not allow for supports. Now, if you start the game over, it'll start you in Eliwood mode. Well, that's another thing. With if you don't start the game over, you're going to have Anthony required to start for every chapter, and that's going to be a huge problem as well. Because I did not fix that in the current patch, and because there's no reason to fix it if you're in Eliwood mode the whole time, because Chadwick is Eliwood's replacement. And he can also legitimately seize. I didn't have to do that pseudo-seize crap where he just waits on the spot and is like, oh, he's seizing. No, I can actually get the seize command now. So we're good on that. We've got supports, whatever other perks Eliwood mode has to offer. So
yeah, Mike's done a lot of good work with event coding and other things. We now have the Merlinist that works. He levels up naturally, just like in Fire Emblem 7. We have the seizing that's now functioning perfectly. There's really some pretty cool on-map scenes that happen. Bosses are sometimes some of them are fairly tough, but they're ultimately pretty rewarding. We added a few new items. We plan on doing a lot of new items as we get further in. We also have a few new classes. We did the Halberdier. We have a sprite that was lent to us. There's I don't want to spoil one or two of them, but we do have some classes that we ported from Fire Emblem 8 that we reintroduced.
It's not a huge spoiler that we have a Mage Knight in there now. So.
No, that's pretty obvious to anyone playing through.
But the other one is going to be a surprise.
And it's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Like, it's kind of innovative what we've done with this, because it'll catch you by surprise. And, like, even after you see it, it'll still catch you by surprise when you try to fight it, so. I'm going to talk real quick about some of the other things I've added. Like I said in a couple of my previous videos, if you've watched those, I've revamped quite a few of the maps. When I was kind of in my noob days of map making, I made some pretty bland looking maps, and that really doesn't stand with the standards we have now. So I've revamped like pretty much the entire first whole bunch of maps, and actually there's another revamped map that isn't going to make it to the demo, but I'll probably add it in just a little later. It's for 4X. Also, a guy named Prime Fusion, he made us a map for the prologue, so you'll be seeing that as well. Speaking of standards, you may have seen some of my threads around Cernus Forest and Shrine of Seals, where I've actually been asking for people to make sprites for me, because I cannot sprite worth crap. And then we're just looking for some high standard sprites. We've actually gotten a good few ones in so far. For example, you'll see a character named Venom has been completely redone, and his bird just looks amazing.
Sergeant Beak.
Yes, Sergeant Beak. Gary Top made quite a few for us, and we're quite thankful. We're quite thankful for any of those quality sprites that we can get, honestly. Because, you know, we're trying to make everything we can quality in this hack, but when we can't make quality sprites, we kind of need to rely on some other people. But, you know, you're contributing to a quality piece of work and making it consistent in that way, and we thank you for that. Lastly, on the new things, I've been really working hard on getting the music up to speed. You'll notice in some of my previous patches there have been some pretty bad midis in there. Well, maybe not, like, they weren't bad midis to start with, but when they were inserted they lost a lot of their quality, or they I had thought for some reason that the instrument or the track limit was 10 back then, but apparently it's 8. But you'll notice some of the Golden Sun songs that I had inserted, I've actually found out how to port those like directly, and you'll actually, if you look on my channel, you'll actually see some videos with some examples of that. And most of those examples have been improved upon. Yeah, I've been, and to get around the 8-track limit, I actually figured out how to splice tracks together via pure hexadecimal. And so that's one thing I've been working on quite tediously. But there's quite a bit of Golden Sun music in there that you'll see. I'm a big fan of Golden Sun music. That's all I can say about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the new stuff. There's a bunch of little things there, but if I were to go over those, I'd be here for a while.
Basically, we're looking to get people to play it. We want it to be good. We really tried to max out how much we could really cram into the game, and hopefully, as you play it, you'll take the time to really dive into all that. All the supports and all the different endings that you can get with the characters, and really read some of the texts, play some of the harder chapters, figure out how to take down some enemies that seem impenetrable. You'll have at least one or two that you'll be having a hard time with.
Oh, definitely. I always seem to make bosses way harder than they should be at first. I usually nerf them down, but yeah, the bosses are still pretty hard. They're not your average pushover bosses.
We have a few side plots, twists and turns. Hopefully you'll have the appropriate amount of seeing what's coming and being caught off guard. Try and keep it fresh is what we're trying to do. And I think that just about wraps it up. Again, I'm Chuck. I do most of the writing, a little bit of the directing, and then this is Mike. Yeah, Mike.
I do most of the programming and all that crap. But yeah, we thank you guys for listening to this. We look forward to you guys playing our hack, and we hope you enjoy it.